Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Third and Long podcast. We have a very spooky show for you this evening where the only thing scary is the 49ers' current form. My name is Shane Harris. Above me is Ollie Hope. To my right is Philip Perez, and in the top corner is Oliver Butler Henderson. Gentlemen, how has your day been? How are you feeling? And a happy Halloween to you.
I'm a bit disappointed because Phil said he was going to dress up and then he never did.
Yeah,
He said on the Thursday show he'd dress up.
You're right, sorry.
And of course,
Done it again.
he's eating.
Well, I'm literally like my coffee and a couple of biscuits. Yeah, I was going to dress up as Batman, but I might just save it for Thursday now.
It's this week's episode of What's Phil Eating?
Can I say, Phil, are you sure you want to do an NFL podcast and you don't want to do a cookery show? Because I'm sure I could pull some strings with Guy Fieri and get us on the Food Network.
I could do that. Okay. We could have our own TV show called Bitchin' Kitchen.
Or just what's Phil eating?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a fairly short episode. Would it be like, oh, Phil, what you eating today? Oh, chocolate bourbon. All right, tune in. Same time, same channel next week.
I mean, that's usually what the first 2 minutes of this show is, to be honest.
I also got a yogurt as well.
Fat free. Trying to wash that waistline, yeah?
No, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips.
Right, let's go through.
The first thing is the first score's wrong because the Bills won that game.
Yep.
And you got the Bucks winning.
Surely we should have talked about this in pre-production before we start the show, but I like the fact that we're doing this on air, just airing our dirty laundry.
Yeah,
I know there was PI on the last play, and the Bucks should have won, but
me
the
and my
Bills
fat
did.
fingers, all right. And if someone came on early and did it, it would have been fine. I normally have someone on the group, not naming anyone to my left, that spell checks everything because I am dyslexic. So it's fine, and I also have a case of fat fingers. So yeah, that also happens as well. Where you hit more keys than once, not generally fat fingers. So we will go over the games from Thursday night. Obviously, Josh Allen leads the Bills to a 24-18 win over Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but I would just like to talk about that. I would just like to talk about the Hail Mary at the end of that.
I wish you'd let me finish talking before you go over it.
Yeah, Oliver, you do this all the time because you do it to me as well.
That's because you don't stop talking. So I need to get on.
Despite Josh Allen throwing his 90th pick in his career, that's in 7 years.
I'm all about
quite
that.
A lot. Gents, Mr. Hope, you said you wanted to talk about the lack of DPI on pretty much every Tampa Bay player.
Yeah. Two players were hugging Mike Evans, and another one was on top of Chris Godwin. And the refs just decided to not call it. I know it's a bit hard on a Hail Mary, but it was still very, very clear DPI.
Yeah, I mean, you could see them these on the adult pay-per-view channels as well. These titles: 2 men on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin being held.
Oh, what is it? 25 to 9 in a porn reference, lovely.
Definitely, it's got to be done. I mean, I got to feel Tampa Bay because they played really well. To be fair, Josh Allen is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league.
We can talk about that later on about overrated quarterbacks in the league.
I disagree with that, but
right. If this was, say, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones, Mitch Trubisky, who threw that many picks in 7 years, you'd be going, he's overrated. He's overrated. He's overrated. But
however, yeah,
because it's Josh Allen, what he can do with his legs, and he is a bloody good player. He's not overrated. He is a turnover machine. Mr. Perrins.
I have a sexy stat for you all, guys. So the quarterbacks this year from the first 8 games, the most interceptions. Patrick Mahomes this season has thrown 8 interceptions. He is joint first along with Josh Allen with 8 and Jalen Hurts with 8 and Jimmy Garoppolo with 8 and Sam Howell with 8. And do you know who the other quarterback who has also thrown the most interceptions this year has been so far?
Right hand corner.
Go on.
McCorkle.
Oh, what a surprise.
So you have some of these top-rated quarterbacks in the NFL who have thrown the most interceptions. Matt Stafford has 7. Tua has 7 as well. So I know last season I died on the hill of I thought Josh Allen was priming himself for an MVP year. That didn't actually facilitate itself. He started the season quite so as well. I'm not sold. I'm with you, Hendo. Like I'm finding him more and more overrated, and not in a Peyton Manning can never win the big one kind of way. I'm just looking at him as maybe like a Dan Marino type of way, where he'll put up good numbers in some good respect, but he also puts up a lot of bad numbers because he also does a lot of stat padding.
Yep, completely agree with you there. Sunday night games, the 6 o'clock or the 5 o'clock kickoffs over in the UK. It was so nice having extra.
I love that so much.
Oh yes, Mr. Harris, you had your hand up. I do apologise.
Thank you. On the other side of what Phil was saying regarding quarterbacks who have thrown that many picks, does anyone know the team with the most picks in the league so far?
Geno Stone CF.
What do you mean? Yeah, it is us. It is Geno Stone. It is my beloved Baltimore Ravens. Of course,
it's the Ravens because Geno Stone has had so many.
He's had 5, isn't he?
He's
got 5 this season.
Absolutely, yeah, 5 this season, and he's had a pick in the last 3 games. But this defense is on par with the vaunted 2000s Ravens defense at the moment
Jesus.
in stats.
So
exactly.
Which one of your linebackers is going to commit murder? Which one?
None of them. I don't know what you mean.
Which one's going to commit murder outside a nightclub?
Young Stone is quietly having himself a Defensive Player of the Year kind of season. Is that the new Saints jersey you've got on there?
I expected it from the other one, not from you.
I had to get in there. Right. The Sunday games. So we had the clocks go back over in the UK. So we had Scott Hanson's Dorset Tones ring our ears at 5 o'clock on Sunday. And thank God for that, because I got fed up with that.
Quickly, did
that
anybody
show
else,
on the other channel?
Did anybody else not switch over at 10 past because they were watching United get annihilated, or is that just me?
I turned over at 10-2.
You have to bring it up.
I put the Patriots on at 10-2 because I got fed up. Okay. So Jags improved to 6-2 following a 20-10 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Kenny Pickett going down. I believe it's a rib injury, if I'm correct on that one. Anyone correcting me? Titans, Falcons, I'm going to call that in a bit. Bryce Young, the Panthers, to a 15-13 win over the Texans for their first win of the season and his first win as a NFL player, which is something spectacular. Vikings hold on despite Kirk Cousins going down with an Achilles injured, which is now being confirmed as a tear. So that's his season done. To beat the Packers 24-10. The Saints, Tyson Hill and Kamara Taysom, make sloppy Colts play in a 38-27 win.
That's unlucky.
Minshew threw a couple of horrible picks, I won't say.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, I'm right.
Everyone's entitled to a bad game. Just look at Hogan against Warrior and Halloween Havoc 98. Same thing. He had a bad match. Minshew had a bad game. It happens.
Yeah, talking to me about wrestling won't help solidify your point with me.
All right, so basically, in 1998, there was an event called Halloween Havoc, and it was billed as the Ultimate Warrior's first competitive match in WCW against Hulk Hogan. Now, famously, at WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 6. The Ultimate Warrior defeated Hulk Hogan, and then years and years later in the rematch, it was Warrior versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania at Halloween Havoc 98, which is already billed as being the worst pro wrestling match of all time. So even some of the legends have dip days, guys. Some like we talk about like Man United, they're having a lot of dip days, but we can argue sometimes that they were legends at one point in their life. So it wasn't.
See you
what's
Wednesday.
About Minshew? Yeah, when you beat our blind team.
See you Tuesday. See you next Tuesday.
Drew's come up and said everyone's entitled to a bad game, yeah, like when United got battered 7-0 to Liverpool, or how City smashed them yesterday 3-0.
Do you know what, Drew?
Yeah,
I always
right. Let me. Whoa! That's my buddy, young Neil. Have a minute now, young Neil. What you know about football? Everything I taught you. What you know about football? You can fit on the head of a fucking pin. You're not a football fan. Stick to your guitars, all right?
Look, I think Drew needs to have some more. Let's put some respect on Drew's name, by the way. Like, he's tuned into our show and he's contributed some stone cold hard facts. Okay, no one can disagree that Man United get turned over on a regular basis at this moment in time, and in the previous instance, as well. So let's get back on track and talk about Manchester United not sucking, but let's talk about the NFL, and we can compare it to other teams.
Drew's just going saying, what I know is United shite mates.
I mean, we
thanks
only
for coming on, Bud. Thanks for coming on.
We only speak facts on the show.
Should we go back to normal sport? I've just noticed you've got the background. That's a quality poster you've got in the background, Mr. Parents.
What, The Exorcist? Or
Elvira? No, Exorcist.
Oh, of course you got Elvira in the background.
I've met Elvira. I've got a signed picture.
Is it white? Is the poster white clean as well?
For the let me just finish the Eagles game, and we can chat. For the first time this season, the Eagles' brotherly shove or push fails as the Washington weren't able to capitalize as the Eagles beat them 38-31. The Washington have got something against Commanders. That's twice against the Eagles. That's twice now. They've come really, really close to them.
If I recall, did the game earlier this season go to overtime?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Why? I'm going to get the game out of the way because I'm more upset that Kendrick Bourne is done with an ACL injury. There was 2 hits. They were exactly the same type of hits. One was flagged, the other was flagged. As in Devontae Parker, when he got hit by, I can't remember who it was now, didn't get flagged. He's now in concussion protocol. Juju hit one of the Dolphins defensive backs. Exactly the same kind of thing. Flags everywhere.
Yeah, but one was a defensive hitting an offensive player, and one was offensive hitting a defensive player. So that could be different.
Shouldn't make any difference. They were still both helmet to helmet.
I can't call it because I don't know the plays you're talking about, but
the ones I put in the group chat, they were both helmet to helmet, and they both should have been flagged.
Mate, I don't watch all the videos you put in the group chat.
I do, Henderson, because I respect you and like you as a person.
Yeah, so do I. You're going to act like you came if you don't watch them.
I'm a busy guy. I'm a busy guy.
No,
I have no.
Look. I love all the videos that Hender puts up because I like to remember them because we can look back on them when we look at like this week in NFL history because as we know I'm a big fan of history while Hopi is just a big fan of clear all history.
Hey!
Exactly the same joke you made 2 days ago in the group chat.
Yes, and I made it knowing that I would be saying it again tonight.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, we all knew going into the game that Dolphins were probably going to win this game.
Sorry, probably wasn't the right word there. Definitely going to lose that game.
Hey, there's always a chance. You know, we know the field given at any given Sunday. So come on. Although our Sunday was last weekend against Buffalo. There is so many. I mean, we've lost so many injuries. We've got players falling down. We're just. It's almost like they're ticking off the dates now. And I just hope they turn up when I go to see them in Frankfurt, so they actually win or play. That'd be quite nice. I mean, yeah. I mean, you say you guys are desperate for your bye week. We're in a very same situation.
When is your bye?
After Frankfurt.
Is Frankfurt not this weekend? Next weekend?
Next weekend, yeah. So
yeah.
I'm not here on the game back because I'm flying.
Uncommitted.
Second words off. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't. Mac, there is something wrong with Mac. He's not a top tier quarterback. He's not going to be the face of the franchise. He's not going to be the next Tom Brady. Shut up, Phil.
So I just want you to say that again. I thought there was just a bit of a discord there.
I can't. He's not going to be the face of the franchise. Is putting another rookie quarterback in next season going to be the answer? Probably not. Is signing one of these free agents going to be the answer? Probably not. They're going to end up paying stupid amount of money. Kirk won't be ready, not with his Achilles gone now.
Well, you say that though, but did you see Aaron Rodgers warm up the weekend?
Aaron Rodgers is a freak of nature.
Like his relationship with science is fascinating in itself. There should be like a 30 on 30 documentary on him. But there will be like a few quarterbacks next year that I think, veteran-wise, just to tick you out, like that bridging quarterback. I think in the right system with Bill Belichick, I think Kirk Cousins would be a great pickup for the Patriots. But that's next year's conversation.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is playing in a very Patriot-like offense in Las Vegas. If you want him,
but he's playing very much like a Raider, so we don't really want him, do we?
No.
That's it. I know somebody else who could start for the Patriots as well all day long, and he's better than McCool. He can start next week.
Trey Lance.
Me?
You can start next week, baby. Well, yeah, probably. Oh, Minshew Mania would run that franchise.
He would.
Yeah, but he's starting for the Colts for the rest of the season. So
yeah, I mean,
next season we're talking.
He's not going anywhere. Not now. That's gone down. It's going to be interesting now because obviously Kirk Cousins done for the season. Obviously they got Jefferson. They're not going to rush Jefferson back now. What's the point? They're not going to.
They're going to go get Trey.
Who's that backup? Is it something Hall?
No, it's that rookie that came in. Can't remember his name.
It's not Keelan Mond because they got rid of him, didn't they?
No, he's a 6th round pick this year, and I can't remember his name.
Jaron Hall from BYU.
Zach Wilson's back up for 3 years.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll talk about that more on Thursday, I think, because there's obviously this trade's going to be coming in the next 24 hours. There's been a couple or one that's happened. The Giants' defensive line's gone to Seahawks. We'll cover that.
Yeah, I know. For the second and fifth round, that's a bit of a steal.
Yep.
We'll get to that on Thursday.
Mr. Harris, you have got some insight on the Giants-Jets game.
I do, yes. The Battle of MetLife, as they say. It felt like a Giants home game. The crowd were very much pro-Giants. And considering they both play in the same stadium, that was a sight in itself. And the fact that we were all correct in our predictions game to say that the Jets would beat the Giants, but it was close. Very close. It went down to overtime. Greg Zuerlein nailing the last-minute field goal for a 13-10 win. One of the best moves of the game, one of the best passages of play was Zach Wilson's 50-yard touchdown to Breece Hall. Fantastic move there for the Jets, which brings them 4-3 and puts the Giants down to 2-6.
How good was Zach Wilson? 24 seconds, literally within 2 plays, got them within field goal range. How good of a 2 passes were they? How good were they? And Garrett Wilson as well. Fair play to them both. Mr. Hope.
Let's be real. This game was poor. The quality was poor, but Zach Wilson proved that he can do it in clutch situations. But then my question is, where was that Zach Wilson for the first 3 and 4/5 of the game?
Giants defense came to play. Giants have got a good defense. They're a bit penalty riddled, but they do have a good defense. I think they're one of the most defensive penalty teams in the league.
Can we please not talk about defensive penalties?
No. Oh, don't worry about that. Rams against the Cowboys, Mr. Hope.
Yes. Okay, so this is 2 teams that I've been quite vocal about the fact I dislike.
Yes.
And it was a bit of a game. Dak Prescott played one of his good games. 25 for 31, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Matt Stafford proved that he's on the way down, again with
a nasty thumb injury.
Yeah, 13 for 22, 162 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The LA Rams need to get a running back because Freeman and Henderson didn't really do the business for them. But what a game! My player of the week, CD Lamb had.
Oh, incredible!
Yes,
12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. And it wasn't just like every time they seemed to go to this game on red zone, it was CD Lamb making a catch.
Oh yes, most definitely on that.
And to be honest, I think
who's got him in fantasy? I wonder.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a double field score on fantasy this week, so
I've got double field.
Yeah, I've kind of emotionally checked out of fantasy football now.
I can tell.
Yeah. On your way to 0-15.
Imagine being the only one who loses to Phil this season.
And I would hold it over them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, well, Phil, I'm playing you this week, and I've over doubled your score.
I'm gonna beat you at some point.
Yeah,
I'm gonna beat you. You sound like Bill Belichick. I'm gonna beat you.
You're not playing me again, and you're not getting in the playoffs from here. So good luck.
You don't know that. I could get him for a wild card.
You know that. He's an optimist after last week. Optimist.
Only 4 teams make the playoffs.
Oh, I don't want to be part of your little clique club.
Which I think at the moment it's on course to be me, my dad, Noah, and Kelly.
That doesn't sound like a fix. That sounds like such a fix.
That's like 2 households.
Yeah. That
Anyway.
You know, I'm gonna call this season void because this sounds like the biggest fix ever.
Anyway, what I want to say is I feel like the Cowboys could have scored more points, but they sort of took their foot off the gas midway through the third quarter.
They wanted a certain stat, didn't they?
Yes. The Scorigami is back with the 1079th unique score of 20-43, which is what the Rams versus Cowboys finished.
Nice.
Oh yes. Can I just say I was the only one who went for the Cowboys to win?
I know, you arsehole.
Yeah, but I think wasn't I the only one to go for the Saints to win against the Colts?
Yep. You were.
Because I was the one that knows Gardner Minshew throws picks like he's Oprah. You get a pick. You get a pick. You get a pick.
Most definitely. So the last 6 o'clock game we want to do a quick roundup on is the Tennessee Titans against the Atlanta Falcons. Tennessee 28-23 victories. Well, Levis, welcome to the NFL, young man. What a debut to have. The 4-1.
Wow, just got to show that I have mayo with my coffee in the mornings from now on.
I know. Is Tannehill getting back into that starting position? Don't bloody well think so. I think you'll be traded, young man.
Oh.
No, I think Tannehill will start when he's fit.
Out the 4 touchdown throws that impressed me the most was his 4th one. Stood there knowing he was about to get levered and still released an absolute dime into whatever his surname.
Probably Hopkins.
No,
Nope.
Westbrook Akinu.
Westbrook Akinu, sorry, yeah.
You know, he knew he was about to get hit and he released an absolute dime to the guy. It was a brilliant.
I mean, I had 3/4 of a chance. 3 out of 4 of it being D-Hop.
Yeah. D-Hop, who thought he was finished? Just going to put my hand up because,
Not me at all. I told you.
Not me. I believed.
I think he's about as finished as the secondary in Atlanta because for 3 of his touchdowns, 2 of his touchdowns, they were nowhere near him. He was in open space, and it was a flick of a wrist for Levis, and it was in the bucket for the touchdown run. It was. You let everyone know. It just goes 1, 2, 3 on his Instagram, and you all finished are done. So he knew it. He's heard the noise. He wasn't happy at all. 9 o'clock game or the 8 o'clock games, the late games.
So before we go into the later games, has anybody picked up or heard of the NFL has done a cease and desist for the Tennessee Titans wearing their Houston Oilers throwback jerseys?
Yes. How
was that Tennessee? I thought that was Houston.
No, it's Tennessee.
No, and I can see why, because for history buffs, what the Tennessee Titans are currently, they used to be the Houston Oilers. But they moved to Tennessee, changed completely to Tennessee Titans. Essentially,
there's no oil.
Completely. Yeah, well, yeah, famously, Tennessee, that is famous for not having any oil. And I can kind of see for me, it's a head scratching kind of thing anyway, because they are the Tennessee Titans. Their identity, it's not like they've just changed like from like the St. Louis Rams to the LA Rams or the Oakland Raiders to the Las Vegas Raiders. They've changed everything about what they were. So when they roll out their throwback jerseys, complete with the old logos on their helmets, it's a head scratching thing for me, because if it was, say, the Houston Texans, that makes perfect sense if you're going to do that kind of thing. But it blows my mind that they do that, because there's no association with it, and it looks weird. They've got Houston, they've got the little Oilers symbol on their head, and it's the Tennessee Titans. So I can kind of see from that perspective of why it shouldn't be allowed. But the NFL have banned them because of the use of color. Like it's the actual color combination, the color clashing. So it's got nothing to do with their heritage. It's the fact that their colors clash, and it's against some form of copyright that the NFL have in place that allows them to do certain things. So, one, how did the NFL even allow this to happen to begin with? Two, isn't it when they have their throwback days, it has to be approved by the NFL? So you dropped the ball there. And then three, they've obviously been selling them for quite some time now. So why the NFL allowed these jerseys that are copyrighted and shouldn't be allowed to be sold? So it's stupid that it's got this far, but I'm not against it, because I think it makes no sense, because they are not the Houston Oilers anymore.
No, they are not. Mr. Perrind, I'm going to let you discuss Chiefs Broncos first.
Yeah, so historically, like when Baby said about two teams that he absolutely hates, the Cowboys and the Rams. I too hate the Cowboys and the Rams, but I also have other names to my pain, and one of them starts in Colorado with Denver, and the other one continues on in Kansas with the Chiefs. It's actually kind of like a bit of a nothing game for me as an NFC fan and a 49ers fan, but watching these two teams, where one are expected to go to the Super Bowl and contend to retain their championship, and the other one is in tank heaven with a very questionable over-the-hill quarterback and a questionable over-the-hill head coach as well. So to find that the Broncos actually won this game, and won this game quite convincingly, without allowing Kansas to even score a touchdown. There was reports coming into this game. It was reported that Patrick Mahomes had been suffering from illness for the past 7 to 10 days, which I don't know whether or not it's true, whether or not it's legitimate. It's the first time I heard of it up until that game. I don't know whether or not So I don't know whether or not how legit that is, because sometimes NFL teams will throw out a little bit of false information to kind of throw people off, just to kind of point out bad play. But looking at the stats itself, even though the Chiefs lost quite convincingly when you look at the box scores, Patrick Mahomes threw 24 for 38, 241 yards, throwing 2 interceptions, while Russell Wilson threw 12 for 19, 114 yards, and actually scored 3 touchdowns. So looking at the box score, it seems very comprehensively that Denver completely trounced Kansas City, and rightfully so. But Pat, I found, other than obviously his 2 interceptions, and we'll talk about quarterbacks who have thrown interceptions a little bit later on, I didn't think Patrick played that poorly. And then maybe this is the curse of not having Taylor Swift in the box every week cheering Kelsey on.
That's exactly what it is.
Thankfully, she's back on her worldwide tour and is doing Europe very, very soon. So maybe we might find that the Chiefs don't even make the playoffs. Oh my god!
I think you'll find she's doing Europe next summer. It's South America she's doing now.
Either way,
her presence was in the stadium.
Thank you to our South American correspondent.
Yes, it was.
From what I've heard, the Denver PA were playing Taylor Swift songs after the game on the PA, which is high elite tier trolling.
Yes, I love that.
Absolutely brilliant. Shano, you put a couple of players on the trade block on Thursday's show. Go back on to listen. Well, it's on Facebook, YouTube, also on Spotify as well. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutherland both had brilliant games. Both had a couple of touchdowns as well. Not massive yardages, but Cortland's second grab was outstanding.
Can anyone say my play of the week?
I think someone's called it, haven't they?
Me.
Well, that was a good. I've just seen it. I've just seen one of his interceptions. Oh my god, that was a great play by the DB. Yeah. So obviously they are giving listening to offers. Same as Big Blue, listening to offers of their players as well. Mr. Harris, Ravens, how did you get on?
Yes, thank you. On the site of a previous WrestleMania, State Farm Stadium, somebody else got slammed on the weekend, and it was, of course, the hometown Cardinals. And in all honesty, I expected a walkover after last week's domination of the Lions, but we made hard work of it. You know, the first catch of this game from Josh Dobbs was to former Raven Marquise Brown, and Josh Dobbs run in the first touchdown of this game. So I was sat there and I was thinking, oh, here we go, because we have an annoying habit of playing down to our opposition. You know, we'll be competitive against the big hitters and then play down to the likes of the Colts and the Cardinals. But again, as we mentioned earlier on, Geno Stone came up with a picked Josh Dobbs off. Brandon Stevens picked Josh Dobbs off as well. Lamar threw a touchdown to Arizona boy Mark Andrews. Gus the Bus, all aboard the Gus Bus, running for a hat trick. So I can guarantee you he'll be somebody's player of the week. Like I said, Josh Dobbs running for one. Dobbs threw one to McBride and one in the late goings to Marquise Hollywood Brown. Ravens won 31 and 31-24. We're 6-2 now and on to Seattle next week. Yes, baby hope.
I wanted to talk a bit more about McBride's touchdown.
Go for it, bud.
I appreciated the fact that that about 10 of the 11 Arizona players got involved trying to push him over the end zone.
I love that. That's got to be part of the Angry Run section on Carl Brandt.
People say that brotherly shove is like a rugby scrum.
That's a full-on ruck.
Should be a flag on it. Yeah. Should be a flag on it. Borderline cheating.
That is a maul.
That
is literally a maul after a line out trying to get over that try line.
One highlight of this game, if anybody doesn't watch anything else, will be Rashad Bateman's catch from Lamar Jackson. He basically leapt up in the air. The defender had his hands on it, and he took it from his hands and landed on the floor. Incredible catch.
Brilliant. Before you guys talk about your game, I have something for you to listen to.
Wait.
Go on.
Yeah, just a quick joke. Since we are on the subject of the Niners. What's the difference between the San Francisco 49ers and a packet of cigarettes? Gentlemen, what do you think?
One of them has 5 rings, one of them doesn't.
I was going to go with Joe Burrow. Go on, man.
Oh no, I was going to say that our team will forever be better than your franchises, but that's my punchline.
What I was going to say was Joe Burrow doesn't smoke cigarettes.
I know. He told me it earlier, and it's such a dad joke. I know. But, yeah, before you guys carry on, we're just going to do this. How are your tears, and have you dried them, gentlemen?
You look so smug about that when it's worse than Shane's joke.
No, that's great. I love it. Hey, I've had so much crap from you three over the last 18 months since you've been Ollie for the last nearly 3 years now.
Yeah, but that's because you had faith in McCorkle.
Yeah, we still don't believe you on that one.
There's still a little bit on there. There's still a little bit on there.
Phil, do you want to go first? Because I've got a lot to say. So
I will. Just going to play something in return. Look, the 49ers are better than you, so let's not get this over and done with very, very quickly. Now, I actually finished the night last night, kind of spitting venom about all the stuff that went wrong in that particular game. But when you think about our record over the last couple of years, is Steve Wilkes absolutely perfect? No, he's not. There's a lot of things that he needs to really work on. He's a secondary specialist that seems to not just be failing at the secondary, but also the defensive line as well. We need to D'Amico and Robert Saleh were absolutely amazing, but at this same point over the last couple of years, I looked at the stats. Their records are the exact same in terms of like our losing record, but also points allowed as well. We have the talent. And we can blame Wilkes as much as we want, and we can, and rightfully so. He's done some very questionable things, but when he's been made to make adjustments, he's been made, he's done them quite effectively. I thought in the second half yesterday, our defense actually showed up and put a lot of pressure, stunting the Bengals. The only problem is that they're not consistently doing this. I actually don't think Brock Purdy is the problem or the issue at all. I mentioned earlier about other top-tier quarterbacks who have thrown up to 8 interceptions, including Josh Allen, Mahomes, Hurts. Tua has thrown 7. Matt Stafford's thrown 7. McCorkle's thrown 7. Howell's thrown 8. Brock Purdy's only thrown 5. So why are we actually throwing him under the bus when he's actually performing and being quite consistent in that NFL offense? A lot of the points yesterday, yes, he threw those 2 interceptions that we could argue cost us the game, but on multiple occasions throughout the season already, as a second-year quarterback who was still making his mistakes as a 23-year-old, he's kind of carried the offense on its back and has made them score quite high and quite effectively. Now, he's coming off the back of a concussion, and we can look at Kyle Shanahan, who has a history of injuring his quarterbacks and not looking after them and not protecting them. Should he have started yesterday at 6 days after getting a concussion? Probably not. I mean, with it being on the bye week, you probably might have started Sam Darnold and then maybe put Brock in, or like started Brock and then took Sam out. Sorry, took Brock out to put Sam in. There was a play yesterday where Brock got thrown to the ground and he instantly held his head like he knew he was wrong. And I think that's probably then that Kyle should have been a better leader, a better head coach. But like looking at his stats yesterday, 22 passes for 31 attempts, 361 passing yards, 1 touchdown, yes, 2 intersections, 6 carries, 57 rush yards. He was the highest rusher on the team. And, he had altogether 422 total yards, and that's without a run game, a bad defense, key players were injured, drops by Ayuk and Jennings, shaky special teams, and just an overall bad game plan. We cannot blame Brock Purdy for why we lost yesterday. There were other factors, and I still believe in Brock Purdy. Like, he's a second-year quarterback. I say all the time, you let your rookies make those mistakes, and that rookie isn't just necessarily the first year. We're talking about the first couple of years. Josh Allen's been in the league for 7 years now, and he's still making boneheaded decisions that's costing his team in big games. Brock Purdy's literally a season into his NFL career. Why are we calling him a write-off already? There's bigger problems that I think are in the 49ers organization. I think with the loss of D'Amico and Robert Saleh, it's shown that Kyle Shanahan is not the team motivator. He is not the team leader. You can be a great schemer and a great head coach, but you need that to keep them going, to get them going. I think that's where D'Amico's presence is massively lost on both sides of the ball. You don't have to just be a defensive coordinator to get the whole team pumped up. And I think Steve Wilkes is going to be an issue. I just don't think Lynch and Shanahan are going to pull the trigger and fire him in this bye week. I don't. I think we're stuck with him for this season. And I think that's maybe to the 49ers' detriment. But 5-3 going into our bye week, that's not a disaster. If it was 3-5 with this team, that's a disaster. But I don't think 5-3 is concerning.
Before Ollie jumps in, I want to say something. Your DCs and OCs leaving is a credit to how well you've done, not because they can quietly go, we want to stay, but 9 times out of 10, if you give them the chance to be a head coach, you will jump at it.
And just to jump on very quickly, I was listening to, because I was coming back from the football yesterday, because I was playing in the evening, and on TalkSport 2, who do fantastic coverage, they said that the Bengals head coach, OC, and DC have remained the same since their trip to the Super Bowl. So they've got that consistent foundation of having the same people in charge, all working together, that know how each other work. And I think that's massively beneficial, as opposed to us who keep losing key members of our staff to go on and do better things. I really hope Salah does well. I really hope D'Amico does well. I love that McDaniels is being fantastic in Miami. But those are 3 key members of the 49ers backroom staff that help really get that team into motion. And, we can't overstate that. I just think Steve Wilkes, I don't know whether or not he needs sacking or whether or not he needs maybe another season to get under his belt, but it's not working and it's becoming alarming.
Okay, so first off, you were talking about John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan sacking Steve Wilkes in the bye week. Yeah, that's never going to happen. I can hope, but And I think the issue is the Niners build their organization and train up these coaches to go and be head coaches, and we accept that that's going to happen. However, every other time this has happened, we promoted from within. This time, we didn't promote from within.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
No. Steve Wilkes was in Carolina last year.
Yeah, he got sacked.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I think personally, Kukurak, who is our defensive line coach, should have been promoted to DC.
He was approached. I looked this up earlier, and he was approached in the off season before they hired Wilkes, and he flat out said no. He gave like a statement, said he felt like he would be very much underqualified for it. He's doing exceptionally well at the defensive line, but you look at like our defensive line this year, he is not getting the best out of that line that has Hargrave, Armstead, and Bosa. And we can argue that Drake Jackson's development has been very so-so as well. So he's already come out and said he's not interested, he's not fit for the job. But at the moment, the job that he is currently employed by the 49ers, he is massively underperforming there as well.
But I'd like to go into the game. So I also agree with you saying that I don't think Purdy's the problem.
No, not even close.
I think our problem is a very, very, very leaky defense, an offense that is made of paper, an offensive line that is made of paper, which is mean Purdy is having to force throws that he shouldn't have to force. And basically those two things are the main issues. And also our discipline. Our discipline is a massive issue, both offensive and defensively, that is putting us behind the chains. Shane?
Just a quick question. I know Baby Hope and Mr. BH are basketball fans. So I approached this question to Orlando earlier on, and I just didn't I'd like to be a bit more, elaborate on it. And obviously, Baby Hope, if you want to chip in, please do feel free. Do you think Brock Purdy is the NFL's Jeremy Lin?
Elaborate.
Flash in the pan. One season wonder. Do you know what I mean?
So,
had a couple of good games, done well for a season, and then faded.
Jeremy Lin won like sixth man of the year like 2 or 3 times, didn't he?
Yeah, and now what's he doing?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, but Jeremy Lin's too old now, so he's retired.
Yeah.
In his prime is what I'm saying.
Is he a flash? Is Brock a flash in the pan?
Yeah.
No, because you do see a lot of good stuff about him.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Lin was a good point guard that was stuck in a poor Knicks team for most of his career. But no, because
what's Brock thrown 6 picks in 17 games? He threw 1 the back end of last season.
He threw 4 last season and 5 this season.
Okay, more than that. But he's generally very good at protecting the ball. I think, Phil, you said he reminds you of Drew Brees?
Yeah, so it was the scout that brought him up last year or pitched him to Shanahan and Lynch said he reminds him very much of a young Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees is actually my favorite non-49er player of all time. I went through university watching the ESPN sports scientists, where they would talk about like how accurate a quarterback is or how great a wide receiver is, and they put them through rigorous tests. And it was kind of like analyzed at one point that Drew Brees was the most accurate NFL quarterback of all time at that point. And this is before he won the Super Bowl as well. So I was watching these kind of things. I was watching his mechanics, his work ethic, and then he won the Super Bowl. I watched the America's game, and I just followed like Drew Brees. I was upset. I've got a Drew Brees jersey upstairs as well, and Drew Brees was a very much an undersized quarterback. Like, he wasn't big. He wasn't built like Manning or Rivers or who else was around during that time period? Big Ben. But he managed to protect the ball well in both teams, whether or not he was in the Chargers or whether he was in the Saints. Yes, you could argue that he did a lot of stat padding, but he very rarely turn the ball over for interceptions or fumbling. And I watch a lot of Brock Purdy, and his mechanics are very much the same. He reads the game really well in terms of comparing to Jimmy Garoppolo, where Jimmy would go, this is my first read. Oh, crap, it's not open. Oh, okay, I don't know what to do now. Brock Purdy scans the field really well, and he can extend plays as well. He uses his arm strength to his advantage. I'm not saying like he throws dimes like Aaron Rodgers does, but he is very good at creating yak moments of 15, 20, 25 drop-offs, and then boom, the players turn to make a really big play of it. Kittle did it yesterday in one of the few highlights of the game where he threw a very tight ball to Kittle in coverage, in two-man coverage, and Kittle managed to get the ball, bring it in, and then make a huge gain into Bengals territory. And that's the kind of thing that Brock Purdy did last year and has done this year. And again, a lot of our problems on offense, I don't think is Brock Purdy's fault. I think some of it's the game plan. Debo hasn't been available. CMC, again, if your whole game plan is getting the ball to McCaffrey, it's very limited despite him scoring lots and lots of touchdowns. Ayuk has killed ever since we did that poll where I said vote on which jersey and Ayuk won, and I bought that Brandon Ayuk jersey that evening. Brandon Ayuk has not been very good. And I'm saying this as someone who was a big fan of him, but he has dropped. And again, yesterday, he was almost like letting the ball hit him in the face instead of catching it. And I think there's other problems on that offense that aren't related to Brock Purdy. Again, he's turned the ball over 5 times this year, but Mahomes has done it 8 times. Are we going to start calling Mahomes a fluke, a one-season wonder, a hack, a has-been? Josh Allen, who else did I mention as well that's thrown 8? Jalen Hurts, he's thrown 8 as well this year. A Super Bowl winning champion. Matt Stafford, the stat machine himself. He's thrown 7 interceptions, which is more than Brock Purdy. So we can't lay the blame there. I think a lot of it has to fall on Kyle, and a lot of it has to fall on Wilkes as well.
Okay,
round the game up.
I've been waiting to talk for a while. First off,
people can't speak as well, mate.
First off, Phil was talking about Brock Purdy extending the play. There are 2 plays I want to talk about where Purdy did extend the play, set his feet, and threw like there was one to Ayuk and one to Kittle. They were both 25-yard gains.
Yeah.
After he'd extended the play, and they were both in the first half. Both exceptional.
Was it Kittle on the touchdown in the first half?
McCaffrey. Yeah. Only McCaffrey scored 2 touchdowns.
He rolled out right and then threw across his body.
Yeah, that was to McCaffrey.
Was it to McCaffrey?
And that was in the second half.
I thought it was the one. I thought it was a kiss on the first half. Right?
No, McCaffrey. We scored 2 touchdowns. They're both McCaffrey. But the play before that to Kittle where he threw across his body was scary. That gave me Jimmy G moments, which scares me. But I just want to talk about Kyle Shanahan's record in the months. So Kyle Shanahan, since Kyle Shanahan started, we've been a very second half of the season team. I think last year we went on a 10-game winning streak at the end of the season. So Kyle Shanahan's record in September is 9-10, which is close to 500. In October, he is 11-16, and that's just over 40%. In November, he's 11-9, which is 55%. In December, he's 17-10, which is 2/3. And then in January, he's 4-1. So that's So I think I'm not sure if he's very good at making mid-season adjustments or if there's something more to it.
Be interesting to see when the bye weeks were on those seasons, see if it changes that way. We do have some breaking news. So obviously Falcons lost Grady Jarrett earlier on, tearing his ACL yesterday. So they have traded for Eagles defensive tackle Kentavious Street for a late round pick in the 2024. So basically a conditional 6th rounder, and if he plays 26 games, they'll get a 2025 7th round as well. So they're getting some defensive help after losing defensive tackle.
Street's a good player. He used to play for the Niners a couple of years back.
That's a good pick. I'd fair play.
Yep.
I mean, it's not Dexter Lawrence level. No, not Dexter Lawrence. Who was the guy that the Seahawks traded for? Or was it Dexter Lawrence? Anyway.
Yes.
I would like to see when the bye weeks are. I remember the Super Bowl year, our bye week was early, but usually it's been around this time.
So it does make that changes. So we've got one more game before we rock on to Sunday Night Football. Cleveland got defeated by Seahawks in Seattle 20-24. Anyone see Jamal Adams' headed interception?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Off the head, and it went straight to that. I can't remember who it was, but that was a brilliant bit of improvisation.
Or Scott Hansen described it, an English soccer ball headbutt. Love him.
Oh, I gotta love Scott Hansen. Obviously, we had Sunday Night Football where the Chargers beat the Bears.
Yes,
I'm going to show you.
This year's Brock Purdy crashed and burned.
Oh yes, I'm going to show a video because this is brutal from the Chargers.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I didn't do f***ing shit.
Oh, that's funny. In case anybody didn't know, that was a little homage to Starship Troopers. Paul Verhoeven's second best film he's ever made.
That is so brutal. I thought when I saw that first throw from Tyson Baguette to I want to say Mooney. I thought, hello, we got a game on here. But yeah, Chargers stepped up their game. They blew them out of the water in the first, doing 24-7 at half time. And Justin Herbert had a good game.
But that Darnell Mooney though, do you not think it was OPI?
I think they were literally all over each other, and it was a lot of hands fighting.
There is a straightened arm to push off though.
But there's also the defensive back literally all over him. So he could have, it's one of those where he could have gone, yeah, you have a flag, and penalties are offset. It could have been repeated. But yeah, I mean, Tyson Baguette?
He's French all of a sudden.
Picked with a couple of picks. It was a flush in the pan where teams have got plays on him now, and he's like, "Oh, I can play football now. I can know what I'm doing." That's why he was a D2 college and undrafted this year. I mean, have you guys got any takes on it?
It reminded me of I'm going to go to the 90s here. Nick Mullins.
Picnic.
Yeah, I know. Inception machine. But the first game he played was on national TV against the Raiders, and he balled out.
Remember that game?
Yeah.
It was on a Thursday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was there being interviewed after the game. Everyone was like, oh my God, he's the next big thing. And then he turned into, as Phil just said, picnic.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert had a game. Is 127.7 passer ratings. Really good game. I mean, he's called the social media quarterback, YouTube quarterback, whatever you want to call it. In Ollie Hope's case, the very much overrated quarterback.
Yeah, but the Chargers got what they paid for last night, though.
Finally, 31 from 40, 298 yards, 3 touchdowns, passer rating of 122.7. Absolutely perfect. Obviously, we have got one game tonight. It's every San Francisco, 49ers second team, the Las Vegas Raiders against the whole of the UK's second team, Detroit Lions, and who need a serious bounce back after had their trousers
getting demolished, getting battered.
Had their trousers pulled down by Mr. Harris's team.
LG. Damn right.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown's carrying illness and is questionable for tonight. Mr. Hope.
I think this is going to be closer than people think.
Do you?
I do. I do think the Lions are going to win, but I think they won't cover the spread, which I think is 7. I'll check that. But I don't see the Lions covering the spread.
It's very interesting. Look at the team stats. The passing yards allowed is in Las Vegas Raiders. They've allowed less than 200, while Detroit are over 250. The rush yards allowed is obviously Las Vegas Raiders are 129 yards rushes allowed, and Detroit is 76. Detroit haven't really picked up a full-on rush game yet, but especially with David Montgomery out now, so it's going to be a lot on Jamar Gibbs. Is that going to play in their favor that Las Vegas allows so many rushing yards per game on average?
I hope Gibbs has a big game.
Hopefully David Montgomery is playing, because I decided not to bring him out of my team. I completely forgot to do that. Never mind.
Yeah, I did just check, and the spread is currently 7.
So, what are we thinking, Mr. Perrins?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. The Raiders, I was following this midweek. They had a team meeting. I'm always very suspect when there are team meetings, because often it either becomes like an ugly slugfest, or they band together and nothing really changes the situation anyway. So when I heard that there was an all-team, all-open kind of team meeting that I think took place on Thursday last week, about the direction that the Raiders are currently in and some of the things that they're going through at this moment in time. And then you hear like certain players that are potentially being shipped off to other teams, like Crosby and Renfro, and even Devontae Adams to a degree as well, as we found out from our Saints GM guest on Thursday. He was very interested in taking Devontae to New Orleans.
He was.
5 first rounds. Wow.
I know. Imagine being paid all that money to make those decisions is insane. And I still think that. Do we know if Jimmy's available? I don't think he is.
Yes, Jimmy is available.
Yeah, he is available.
Yes, he
so
is.
if that's the
Yes,
case,
he
I'm going
is.
full on Detroit Lions to win.
Mr. Harris, your take on it.
For the last time this evening, on the site of the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, right? There's going to be the Detroit Lions against, yes, hold your head as much as you want. The more you hold your head, the more I will do it. I honestly do think.
Just remember, I have a mute button.
Carry on, by no worries.
I have an unmute button.
Thank you. I have my support on this channel. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Lions to win.
Baby hope.
Well, I said close game, but I think the Lions will shade it by 3. I'm going to go 23-20.
I think a certain number 2 pick from last year's draft is going to have a field day, and he's going to have a hat trick of sacks.
Why do you think about this number 2 pick? Okay, Hutch.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. We know that is. He's one of the channel's favourites.
Oh yes, I think Hutch is going to have an absolute field day,
and you'll have a happy girl in your home tomorrow.
Oh yes,
in your house.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a Detroit Lions win.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, get your bets on Vegas now.
that was always the case last season, wasn't it? Whenever we all went for the same teams, the team we all went for lost. It happens to be
Josh Jacobs ball out now, finally, the first time this season.
Amon-Ra Brown is expected to play. Apparently, it's just ESPN have just broken that one.
Done deal, Gorilla. It's a done deal.
They are kicking off an hour early at 12:15. So if you want to stay up a little bit and watch it, feel free. We will be back on Thursday for our normal Thursday night show with Plays of the Week, Play of the Week, Rookies of the Week, and all the palaver.
And probably a lot of trades to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple go through the last 24 hours or the last 2 hours. One went through before the show, wasn't it?
I was tempted to whip out my yellow tie for today, but decided against it.
No, Jeffster. No, what's his name? Wasn't Jeff? Who was it?
No, it wasn't Jeff. It was Jim. It was Jim Brown. No,
not Jim Brown. He was in bloody Coronation Street, wasn't he? Or
yeah, I know you talk about.
Jim Brannan.
I can picture his face.
Yeah. Anyway, we will be back Thursday for another week of NFL football preview. Like I said, loads of trades, loads of usual stuff to talk about. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, and we'll see you Thursday.
Ta-da.